Hello and good day to everyone. My name is GOSVINDRAJ and welcome to my final year project presentation and demo that goes by the title Volunteer Task Allocation System. Volunteer Task Allocation System is a smart task allocation system that matches people's capabilities and their availability for events that requires volunteer. The project is developed to automate the volunteer task allocation process, which is currently being done manually and requires maximum human intervention. A ranking method will be used to evaluate the capabilities of volunteers to allocate tasks based on its requirements. There are three different objectives for this project. The first is to create a centralized system, just like some sort of volunteer management system. The second is to develop a smart task allocation system to automate the process of task allocation, and last but not the least is to provide an optimal solution for matching the volunteers to the task that has been defined in the second objective. So the proposed solution is a web-based application, and since it's a web-based application, the web framework that was chosen to be adopted for this project is Django. It's a web framework, and since it's Django is very dependent on Python programming. So the programming language, the main programming language that was used for this project is Python. And the ranking approach that was used for is to rank the volunteers' capabilities with fuzzy ranking evaluation method. Which uses fuzzy sets and fuzzy theory logic. So here's a simple allocation flow of how the system allocates the task automatically. So on the left hand side we can see the host. So on the left hand side we can see the host, in the middle is the system, and on the right is the volunteer. So on the left, as soon as the host creates a event and a task with it, and as soon as they submit it, the system detects it, and the system will start its automation process. So it will get all the available volunteers, it will filter it based on the necessary conditions and criteria, and as soon as it gets the best student, it will allocate the best student to that task that was created by the host. And once it has been allocated, the system waits for the response of the volunteer. So the volunteer can either accept or reject. If the volunteer accepts the task, the system will assign the task to them. From allocating, now the system will assign the task to them and it will end it there. Or if the volunteer decides to reject the task for some reason, then the system will find the next best alternative to allocate the task to them, and the process repeats until a student or perhaps a volunteer accepts the task. So now moving on to the architecture part. So on the left hand side we can see the web application architecture. So when an user requests, the web server that was used for this system is Nginx, which handles the request of the user. So the Nginx will be able to communicate with the static files and also with the application itself, the coding and so on, with the help of a web server gateway interface, which in this case I'm using G-Unicorn. On the right hand side we can see the cloud server architecture. So the system has been deployed in Heroku, which is a platform as a service. So and the system also relies on AWS, Amazon Web Services, to provide infrastructure to host the database live on cloud, and also to host the static files such as the CSS, images, JavaScript and so on cloud itself. So the Heroku platform will communicate with the AWS to make the system work. So last but not least, to talk about the impacts and the benefit. So the impact is that the system saves time and effort, as a lot of things has been automated within this system. So it takes away the hassle from the stakeholders. Let's just say if the host does not really need to be worried about if their if their event has fulfilled the number of volunteers and so on, because the system will take care of all of it. And also for the volunteer, because sometimes as a volunteer we are not given the task that we are capable to do, but we are given something that we are less capable to do. So the system make sure to tackle this issue by providing an optimal solution so that it benefits both the stakeholders. And that's it. So we will move on to the next section, which is the project demonstration. Thank you. This is the project demonstration part for the web application. So the homepage, we had the homepage. Users can log in or sign up as a volunteer or a host, but since I've already have created multiple accounts for both the volunteer and host, I'll just proceed to use those accounts to demonstrate. So we can just straight away log in. So for the first part, I would like to show the host, the functions of the host account. So for that, I've chosen a host account that I've created previously, so we can use it to log in. And as soon as we log in, we can see we are at the homepage for the host. So at the top left corner, we can see the navigator bar having 3 items. The first item is the home, which is to get back to this page. The second item is settings. So over here, the host can update or modify their details. And for the third item, it's a drop down. So the first drop down item is available events. Over here, the host can see all the available events that will be happening in the future. Even if it's other hosts event, they can still see it. So they can click the details, and it will show the details of that particular event, like the date created, who was created by, and the event date, and the task details, and with the number of volunteers needed for each of the tasks. So for the second drop down item, I'll skip first. We will first jump to the third drop down item, which is create event. So for demonstration purpose, I will just create a random event. So we will just call it testing, and description, I'll just use test. The event date, I'll randomly choose it, perhaps like 16th of July, and 17th of July, the day it ends. Of course, I can tweak the time as well over here, but to keep it simple, I'll just keep it this way. So, and then if we scroll down more, we can see the tasks. There are many tasks that can be chosen by the host. So for demonstration purpose, I'll just pick 3 random tasks and click submit. As soon as I click submit, it will be forwarded to the next form, which is related to the first form. This is where the host determines the number of slots for the task that they have chosen earlier. So for promotions publicity, I'll put 2. For photography and videography, I'll put 2, and for the host subactivities, I'll just keep it as 1. And then if we click submit, so now if we go to the second drop down item, my events, we can see here it is reflected there over here at the last part, testing. So it's the same event that we just created. In this page, the users, the host can see all their past events and also their future events that they host. So our focus is on the event that we have just created. So if we click details, we can expand it to the details page, and here we can see the details. Here they can update their event details, or they can even delete the event details. So if we scroll down, the task details is here, but if we scroll down a little bit more further, we can see the allocation details. So the system, as soon as the task was created, the system actually started to allocate tasks to the best student for each of the task category. So for example, for the task host sub activities, the number of volunteers needed was 1 that we chosen earlier, and we can see here the system has assigned this student or perhaps this volunteer named Ronaldo, and their status is pending because we have not yet rejected or accepted the particular allocation. And then if we scroll down, we can see the second task is promotions publicity. The number of volunteers is 2, and there have been 2 volunteers assigned. And for the third task, number of volunteers needed is 2, and the number of volunteers allocated is 2 as well. So I'll jump into one of the volunteers. So let's just say we want to go to Ronaldo. So I'll log out. So to log in as the volunteer is the same interface. So yep, I've chosen Ronaldo. Now I'll log in, and as I log in, we can see the interface, the home interface for the volunteer. So of course it's the same thing at the top left. Home settings is where they can update their basic details and also their skills rating. So they can choose what if they want to update their skills rating, and they can submit it. So now if we go back to home, and over here we can see as well the notification, which basically shows that something, one of the tasks has been allocated to this particular person. And you can also see it is reflected here as spending one value. So I'll just go through here and click on it, the notification, and over here we can see the details of the task that has just been allocated, from what event and what is the task, and the status is pending because this user has not yet accepted or rejected. So for example, for this example, I'll reject the task. So as soon as I reject the task, we can see the volunteer has rejected, because if they accepted, it will be reflected here as active task, and once the task is completed, it will be reflected here. So now to show what the system does after a person rejects, we can log out. We can get back into the same host who hosted that event, and then we can go to their events, and we can see here the event that we just created. Click on its details, and if we scroll down, we can see here that Ronaldo has rejected. In fact, it is reflected here because we just rejected, and the system has automatically assigned the next best candidate for this particular task who is available. So it is Paul. So so that's how the system works. Yep.